Right, I'm gonna just check in with my co-host Solo, see how he's doing. Solo, dude, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm glad we kind of figured out what's going on. It looks like, and looks like we're starting to get a full room here.
Yes, one of the tags worked. So I don't know whose it was in the end, but one of them worked. But it certainly wasn't mine. But glad you didn't run away in the meantime. Good to have you with us. Thanks for sticking with us. Okay, well, I'm going to just jump in and just what I'm going to do actually is just show you what Bitcoin was up to last week. Let's just look at last week's trading chart. Then I'm going to show you this week's. So just a reminder, that's where it was last week. It shot up about 11.5%. It was doing really well. We were all excited. It was great to see it. We were hoping it might have done a bit better, shall we say. We were hoping it might have got around to the $100,000 mark, but it didn't quite get there. So this is where we are right now with Bitcoin. So that's the weekly trading charts for the past week, just going in slightly up. Still a damn good performance, I have to say. I think that's a consistent and solid performance from Bitcoin. Didn't quite get to, as I say, the 100K or over. I know, Solo, I think you were optimistic we might be around 105, I think you mentioned last week. Didn't quite get there, but nonetheless, I still think that's a pretty good performance from Bitcoin. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I definitely think we saw a nice run up there. I remember a few weeks ago you were showing us some technical analysis saying that we should be in the mid 90s soon, and that was surely correct. So I think we're kind of going to sit here for a while. We're going to have to get brave to cross over that 100K mark, but we're definitely at that psychological resistance point. And that 100K mark is going to be hard to break unless some big news comes out.
Yeah, well, this is it. This is what we're all looking for now. We want this damn coin to get past 100K again because it is going to be a stiff wall. You're absolutely right, Bookerman. It's proving quite a resistance point, let's be honest. Um, and this is going to bring me on to my next point because, as you know, I've often been comparing um, what Bitcoin has been up to. I've got these reference points in the 4 year cycle, and I've been trying to show this week after week. But I don't know, for those of you out there who follow Decrypt, they're doing it more eloquently than I am, should we say. So what I'm noticing is they put out recently a very interesting article, and they did their analysis in terms of post-halving price performances in the past. And they have concluded, and there's nothing to be alarmed about here, but they have concluded that the Bitcoin post-halving price performance this time round is the worst on record. Now, why is that? Basically, what they are putting it down to, mostly, not entirely, that they've brought in, the Trump tariffs things and all the stuff that's going on in the conventional markets, and absolutely, we've discussed how that has impacted Bitcoin to an extent. But what they are putting this down to mostly is is interest rates. We haven't seen interest rates this high before in when crypto has gone through the halving cycle. So they're putting it almost squarely with high interest rates, which is an interesting point actually, because when you go back to previous interest rates, we don't have a parallel. We don't have a parallel or reference point, and that's what makes this more tricky to work out what's going to happen this time. Because as I've said before, 2017 is very different to 2021. Okay, you can't draw the same parallels there, I'm afraid. So it's making 2025 more tricky to work out. But that point about the interest rates is, I think, probably, I would say, maybe not spot on, but it's a valuable point because Bitcoin usually soars when you're after the halving happens. Okay, due to the decrease in issuance of coins, obviously. But we're not seeing that same kind of price performance with Bitcoin, and I think the interest rates need a closer look. So, what do you reckon on that point?
Well, I definitely think the post halvening effect is not as strong as it was in previous years, just like you said. And a lot of people are saying that that's going to become a more major facet of Bitcoin going on. Eventually, the halvenings are not going to cause large price run ups. They'll probably cause some appreciation in price, but we're not going to see the 10x run ups that we used to see. So maybe this is just the new normal going forward with the halvenings. I mean, we're starting to get pretty deep into them, and we might see some changes in how halvenings affect the price.
Okay, that's an interesting point. You're right. Maybe this is the new normal. I mean, let's not forget we saw Bitcoin, shoot up to an all-time high of around 108K. It was an amazing moment. There's been some really, really solid progress here. There's no doubt about it. Post halving. So we're not, there are parallels definitely, but like you say, maybe this is the new normal. Probably a good way of putting it. We're not going to see perhaps these huge price spikes that we saw maybe back in the day. I don't know. We'll have to see how this turns out. But this sort of neatly brings me on to the next point about when we might expect an alt season. Now, we all want to see that. Of course we do. That's why we're here. That's why we're on Hive and stuff, and we're doing all these other projects. Some of you guys have got your own tokens, etc. Of course, we want that. That all eluding alt season. Absolutely, we do. When we get it, though, it is the key discussion point. Now, I had a bit of a brief chat with Edicted during the week. It's good to see him at the show tonight as well. Good to see you, Edicted. Thanks for coming along. I had a brief chat with him during the week, and it kind of it kind of follows on from what I beg your pardon, from what Solo was saying to me earlier on in the week about there's going to be a threshold. There's got to be some kind of price threshold that Bitcoin has to hit before we start to see that money flow into the alts and we get a full blown alt season. Edict thinks around maybe 115 or 120k. I think he said. Solo, I think he was thinking maybe around 115, 120, around about the same point. What was interesting is that these guys, you two, both agree on the same point. It seems to be around we need Bitcoin to get to 120k before we get that much wanted alt season. Is that about right, would you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, so if we can get Bitcoin to that point, we've all got to go out and do our happy dances. We've all got to go out and send that positive vibe out into the crypto sphere. That's what we need to do, because that is the cloth. Is it cloth avatar? Would you mind? You've got a bit of a hot mic there. Can you just mute that for me, dude? Be grateful if you could, if you can hear me. Is that?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize I was live. Yeah, give me a sec. So sorry about that.
No, that's okay. No worries. Don't worry.
My bad.
It happens. Don't worry. Okay, so that's what we all need to get Bitcoin to, and I just hope that threshold, if we can get Bitcoin to that, which I don't see why we can't. We should really start to see some fireworks, and that will all get very exciting. Right, I'm going to rush on a little bit. Just quick check in with Hive because we started late, and I'm going to go over to. Actually, going to go do something different in a moment. We're going to go over to Bookerman, who's got some interesting stuff to talk about, his latest event with his own project, but also simultaneously with some onboarding that he's done for Hive. So I'm looking forward to speaking with Bookerman in just a moment. But let's just see what Hive has been doing, because we're all here because of this fantastic platform. So let me just bring that trading chart up. So there's Hive. There's Hive again, doing what we expect it and hope it to do, to be honest. Mostly trading sideways, as you can see. Had a little peak there on April 26, went up a little bit, got a bit exciting. 26 cents. I think it hit around about that point, maybe even 27. It had a little rally there, which was good to see. You're absolutely right, Menno. 25 cents, good buying price, no doubt about it. Keep stacking that Hive, I say. But there we go. It's again mirroring what Bitcoin has done for most of the week, which is encouraging. We want to see Hive moving in parallel with Bitcoin. Well, at least I do, and I think Solo does. We do rely on these things as proof of some type of a reassurance. I think it might be the word. I know various projects have always tried to decouple from Bitcoin. I don't think any crypto can decouple entirely from Bitcoin. Not that we wanted to, perhaps. I don't know. It's interesting, this whole thing about decoupling from Bitcoin. For me, I think if we have a token that's moving in tandem with Bitcoin price patterns, I think that's encouraging. I think that's reassuring. So, what do you think?
I think it's not altcoin season yet, so we're just kind of going ups and downs just a little bit. Not much is going on. I think Hive is watching Bitcoin, and we're watching Bitcoin as well, waiting for the next move.
Absolutely, absolutely, we are. So yeah, that is whereabouts we are with Hive. I must admit, I just wish things could get a bit more exciting. We've been so patient. We're going to have to be more patient, I'm afraid. But it's just the nature of the game. It's the game we're in, I'm afraid. But I do want some excitement soon. It would be nice, wouldn't it? But anyway, not a bad performance all round, I would say, in the past week. I think that's uh, we do, and we need it now. It is, Benno. It is that conflict, isn't it, between trying to be patient and mature about all of this and say, no, I want it now. I want my piece of cake right now. Anyway, we are going to have to be patient. That's just the way it is. Right. So I'm now going to just check in with Bookerman because before I hand over to Solo, because we're going to just have a quick chat with him because he's been doing some interesting stuff. I assume, Bookerman, are you there? Can you hear me? Your mic is still muted. Oh no, it's not anymore. Tell us, Bookerman, what have you been up to?
Hey, piece of money. Hey, guys, Solo. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what we were doing. So recently we got back from Las Vegas. We were there for WrestleCon, which happened during WrestleMania weekend. And this is really the biggest wrestling convention in the world for the year. And we were right there in the action. And speaking of what we did for Hive and onboarding, on the last day, I had a really great idea of giving out some merchandise to the fans and having them sign up for a Hive account and get some free merchandise. And then we sent out a reach out email after the event with all their information, guides that we made of what is Hive, how to use Keychain, stuff like that, and just walk through guides. And if they went through that and created a post, we would actually mail them more signed merchandise. So it really incentivizes people to actually write posts. And we got, since we're coming up on a week now, we have another reach out we're going to do to people to really get them onboarded and writing in our community. We got a couple of people that have gone on and actually started making some posts. I think that's going to start picking up with the next batch of reach out emails. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was a great way to get people Hive accounts and show them, hey, we could talk about wrestling here.
Oh, absolutely. Kill two birds with one stone. Why not? Absolutely. Well, that's great to hear. Can I ask what merchandise were you giving out, by the way?
So we had a signed 8x10, so a photo. A lot of the wrestling fans are familiar with getting 8x10s, and you get it signed by the wrestler. And so we actually had framed versions of those that we were handing out, giving out to people. So real nice signature of a wrestling legend. Not only do we have Perry Saturn, but we also because we went to WrestleCon the year before, and we had a bunch of signed merchandise that we take with us, we sell, we do these cool little marketing ideas with. So we had even wrestlers that weren't at the convention, and we were giving away signed merchandise of them, and people were really excited about it. Holding the Hive Championship, the Hive Community Championship belt, they had to take a picture with it, had to be posted on Web2 social media, and also they could use it on the Web3 Hive social media. So yeah, I was stoked with it. I thought that was awesome.
That is awesome. Fantastic. And how many onboards do you think you managed to achieve?
So I want to say my list when I went through, because the way we had it set up is we had them actually fill out a paper form. So they could fill out a form, choose what their usernames, what they would want it to be. We would handle so then they could just get out the door, get their item and get moving. And then we'd take their email and we captured their email, their information, their username. We sent them their accounts in a secure way. We sent them the guides of how they could actually check check what Hive is, give a little walkthrough of Hive. Actually, let me share those guides with you that we created so you guys understand what we're talking about. I'm also going to put a post in the voice chat here of, oh, looks like actually Piece of Money, you already got that. Thanks so much. But these are the guides that we sent them, and these are branded by Hive, or excuse me, by Woo, just talking and discussing Hive. There's the Hive guide, and we also have a keychain guide. Let me get that for you also. But we sent these out as part of our onboarding email so they could get their account. And there's the keychain one. Yeah, but it was a pretty simple way of getting them through the door, getting them moving. I found out last year when we were doing onboarding, QR codes are easy, but QR codes also kind of sketch people out. You know what I mean? Like they'll scan.
Yes, I do know what you mean.
So I found it was actually way better to just gather emails on a piece of paper. People are completely fine with that. They don't have to scan anything. They're not directed to another website. They just give an email that they're willing to give out and choose some usernames. And I actually found that to be a better process than actually doing the QR code scanning and them having to sign up that way.
So can I ask, did you register the account for them?
Yeah, we actually used Acidio's referral system. And so OCDB, we were actually just creating account token, like voucher tokens that they get an account. They type it all in, and Wrestling Organization Online actually gets a 3% beneficiary on their posts as a referral through that. And it was just an easy way to also get it on a curation trail so we could post that in OCDB so they can take a look at these people that were onboarded through them and show them some support.
Awesome. And I'm sure I asked earlier, how many can you see a tally of how many you've onboarded?
Yeah, so the list we had was 107. You could all this is on chain too. So I actually got a bunch of notifications from I want to say it was Hive Onboard, and it actually tallied them all there. It had information all on chain. Every account it would have us listed as a referral. So.
Wow, that's excellent. So, in terms of interaction, then, are you going to be monitoring his account? Do you think they'll stay with the blockchain? Do you think they'll engage and blog and all the rest of it?
So we actually delegated RC to all the accounts. So whether they use them or not, there is some RC so they can actually make posts and actually add pictures. We gave them enough RC so they can make a simple post, add pictures, do that once or twice a day, and they're fine if they did so choose. But yeah, so we sent them all RC. We gave them the guides. We reached out. We've offered more merchandise to sign in, and also game rewards and stuff like that for doing, because we keep reaching out to these people. I've seen a couple that are actually, I just read one here. I'll actually share the link with you. This one, I thought Ring of Geeks, I want to say. I gotta get them to upload a thumbnail picture for their account. But so this is, they've actually done a couple of different posts. If you look at them, they've done it looks like 3 posts altogether. First post vibes, trying again, and it's been a busy week, but let's try another post. So they've actually talked a little bit about their WrestleMania weekend in the Woo game community. And so, yeah, they've done 3 so far. So if they kept up with it and actually became a Hivian, I think that's a good success for giving out a piece of merchandise to them.
For sure, absolutely. So that was going to be my next question then, just to kind of summarize it. Have you seen, from a personal perspective, an increase in engagement with your own project, the Woo project, on chain and off chain?
For sure. I was actually just looking at that too. I was looking at our Twitter analytics for after the convention. I'm seeing good upticks, 600%, 420% funny number. but yeah, we're seeing some good increase there. I've seen some new people join the Discord. I want to see more people blogging on Hive and doing and just and I see Hive as, and I know I see it a lot of ways that Starker sees it too. There's various types of Hive users. There's people that want to blog and that's cool to them. I can see just like some people might just want to transact and make purchases with it. There's various types of users, and we want to throw out a wide net and catch all the various different types of users using using other things that we have planned and coming up. But yeah, I think this was I'm happy with it so far. I'm actually doing all the emails to reach out. The cost for us is actually pretty cheap. We can get 100 8x10s for like 76 cents per image. So I mean, one of those images signed cost us maybe $1, all said and done. So giving out $1 to get a few posts out of someone, I'm totally happy with that in that regards.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a classic example of how you can, create your own project and advance your own project simultaneously getting the Hive name out there. It's a classic example, and it's a really good way of it's kind of organic marketing for both your own project, both the Hive project and your own project, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I have the mentality that we're all in this boat together too. I mean, there's some projects that they're just so focused just talking about their project that they forget that like if we grow the Hive ecosystem, that's the best for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just put the tag back in again, just so people can see it. Bear with me. And there it is, guys. Take a look at that. It's some really interesting things there, and the fact that you've sort of combined it with the physical world. I mean, it's kind of off chain meets on chain, and your project meets Hive, and so many sort of good things going on there in one go.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think there's ways that I want to look to in the future of these events to morph it too. Maybe add different ways. I was also thinking maybe next year if we had two tables, they're both Woo tables, but they're not right next to each other. They span different parts of the floor, showcase floor. You could send them with like an 8, like so say you came in and you bought a combo package with Perry Saturn. Okay, we would now give you essentially a rebate, a touch to pay NFC card that is preloaded with a certain amount of Hive, HBD Hive, and it's essentially a rebate that you get right away. They could then go to the other, let's say we have Raven across the room. They now go there with their card, and they could use that as a discount for that, and vice versa.
Awesome stuff. That's great to hear. Bookerman, thanks for sharing that with us. Anything else you want to say about it?
I mean, I think we touched the high spots. I'm really excited for the professional YouTube videos that we're going to be having coming out too. I just want to share just a couple of screenshots. I'm really happy with the way these turned out, and we have very good, high quality interviews coming with Perry Saturn that I think are going to set us up really great. We're going to have call to actions for Woo and Hive in those videos.
Fantastic. Well, whack your YouTube link in as well, so people get the full flavor. Well, that's great stuff going on there. You're killing two birds with one stone. You're doing your own thing, and you're also helping to get the Hive name out there, which is what we like to see. So thank you very much for sharing all of that, Bookerman.
Yeah, thanks for letting me speak for a moment. I appreciate it, guys, and I'll be hanging out.
Awesome stuff. Right. With that said, I am now. It's a bit weird now. I'm going to have to move away from the computer because things have got really dark here. Summer nights are drawing in, and I've started this show without switching the lights on, which is lovely. But because it's now summertime, I'm going to have to sort the lights out because it's getting too dark. But that's perfect timing because I'm going to just briefly. Well, no, not briefly. I'm going to hand over to Solo now, who's going to talk to us about some Hive matters, aren't you, Solo?
Yes, absolutely. This week, I wanted to talk about being an author on Hive. Myself, I've been an author on Hive and the Legacy blockchain for about 8 years. And I've made a list of a few tips that I think would be useful to some people. This is completely subjective, so you may not agree with me on some of these tips. Maybe you do. So I figured I'd kind of talk about these 6 things that I have here that has helped me be a really successful Hive author, and maybe it's helpful to some other people too. So I'm going to start with the first one, which are tags. I see people using tags that are completely unused by anyone else but that author. And I think they're doing a really big disservice unless, and you're trying to do it intentionally, to like do like a solos stuff tag or something that you're creating as marketing. But just search tags before you use them in a post, because sometimes no one's going to see them. And I think going to tags before you post and seeing what other people are using as well, like related to your content. So, like, say if you do travel photography, look at other people's travel photography posts and see what tags they use. And it's quite the rabbit hole. All of a sudden, you'll have all these new tags you can use. And you have 10 of them. So you might as well use all of them. Like sometimes I'll see a person use 1 tag or 2 tags. Use them if you got them. And I think Peak D allows 10. Other services might not allow as many. Some may not allow you to add any at all. But when you have the option, I definitely think adding all the tags and adding relevant tags is really important.
So what is the golden sorry, did you say you're putting something in the chat as an example, did you say?
No, I'm just saying using a tag in a post, it's really important to know what other tags people are using and make sure you use tags that are relevant.
Yeah, no, absolutely, for sure. I heard that. So, what would you say is the golden rule? Because I've often wondered. I know with Peak D you get up to 10, although the first 5 are important, or something like that. I mean, how many tags would you say is enough, or is it just different for each post?
I'd use them all. So if you have 10 to use all 10. If you can't think of which ones to use, look at other people's posts and see what kind of tags they're using. And use them all up, because tags, it's how you get seen in many cases.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's how I've got introduced to other people before, for sure.
All right, so the next one I want to talk about is word count. And I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, because some people think that short form content is great, and it has its place. But your word count really can affect your Hive post popularity, its payout, its viewership, how many responses you get, and flat out, some people call people bots or using fake identities when all they do is just post pictures and don't write anything. So it's really important to put some kind of amount of words to your images. You don't have to do like 2 paragraphs per image, but man, a sentence really goes for a long way. Yeah, right. That would be a lot of words. I try to shoot for about 600. I might hit 300 though, but 600 is usually a pretty good sweet spot for me. And I just think if you can write a little more in posts, it really goes a long way, because it gets noticed by the UI. It shows it right in Peak D how many words are in a post. Some curators, it's something they base, how they're going to curate. If they see a post with a bunch of pictures and no text, they're going to skip right over it. So adding some words to a post, it goes a long way.
Oh, for sure. I mean, when I first started on Hive, I was writing up to about 2,000 words a piece. I mean, they were serious posts I was putting out. The problem back then when I started, I was getting very little recognition. And in the end, it does become a bit soul destroying. But as you know, it's often about who you meet and who you engage with on Hive. And so yeah, I think the importance of building relationships can't be underestimated either, though.
Absolutely. And I actually have that on my list a little further down. We're going to talk about making friends and reciprocating with those friends. But definitely having a quality post, and to some, a quality post has a certain amount of words to it. I think those are important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a balance here between words and pictures. It also depends, of course, what the content is, what you're talking about. If you're trying to illustrate things, some artwork you've been doing, I guess there's going to perhaps sometimes be a bit more focus on the pictures than the words. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, just a sentence kind of describing, what they see in the picture is always nice. And also, it's formatting that breaks up the post by having words. You're kind of separating it. When it's just a series of pictures, people interpret it differently.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got to get words in. You've got to describe what's going on. I was kind of going back to what Edict had just said then about the 1,337 words for each post. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be that long for each post, I think for me it just depends on the subject matter. Because if I was doing a deep dive into something political or something, I don't know, philosophical, it may well need more than 1,300 words or whatever. It just depends, doesn't it?
Definitely. And for example, like snaps and threads and all those are short form only. So yeah, I'm not saying this is a rule to every single Hive post or comment, but it helps with filling out the post. And I personally I try to hit at least 600. That's usually my goal, but I don't always do it myself.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good target to aim for.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about is resizing your images when you post. One of the most frustrating things when I'm looking through someone's post is I see the image is just scrolling as it loads. Like I'm on my old 56K modem trying to load an image. And I sometimes I save that image and I look at how big it is, and it's an 8 megabyte image or a 10 megabyte image from a smartphone. And I'm just like, these people don't realize this. They don't realize when they just drop these images and they don't get resized sometimes. And please understand that some people pay by the megabyte or gigabyte for their data. And when you do not resize your images, you're using up a lot of their data plan. So I definitely think it's important to resize your images out of the respect to people that have to pay for bandwidth. But on top of that, your post is going to load much cleaner. It's not going to look like it's loading from the early 2000s because it's a 10 megabyte image. And just it's just a good habit, I'd say. There's no need to have such a big image when it's like half blurry sometimes, and you're not actually showing any kind of quality in that image. So I like to keep the images at about a megabyte. That's my goal. But sometimes if you have like a really good like DSLR image, I mean, I guess 2 or 3 megabytes is fine. But man, if it's just coming from your smartphone, like it shouldn't be a 12 megabyte image in a post.
Do you know, I'd never really given this that much consideration, actually. Um, I must admit, yeah, it's something I suppose I should be factoring in. But okay, interesting point.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think some people think about it. They just kind of drop their images in their post and never think about how big it is. Especially on modern phones, you can easily have a 10 megabyte image from a phone with enough megapixels.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right. So next, I want to talk about formatting and Markdown. Well, they go in hand. You use Markdown to format your posts, but specifically, you can do a lot of formatting in your Hive posts. I don't think some people realize that. There's a language, or I don't know if you call it a language, but Markdown is what we use to format posts on Hive, and you can do a lot of really cool things with it. And I've tinkered it with it to the point where I can build like columns, and like when I do my photography posts, I break down all my details of my camera filter, like the aperture and the shutter speed. I break it down into markdown separated columns and sections, and it just looks really cool. So it's always a good idea to explore Markdown and see if you can center your posts or change like the size of your text or doing bold or italic. But even further, you can also do a lot of formatting for like data entry in your posts, and that's what I like to do with Markdown.
Yeah, see, the markdown thing for new users can be a bit of a strange thing to get your head around because there's certain codes that certain well commands, I suppose, is what they are. It's like if I need an extra space, do you know that it's the letters BR in brackets?
I actually didn't know that one off the top of my head, but I know like you could do that with like letter P in the brackets.
Okay, because sometimes I need to the text is too close to an image, say, and I want a bit of a gap there. So I use that BR in brackets. It like when I center an image, I put the word center in brackets around the image, and then you've got to put a forward slash after the second center word. It's weird, but it works. But you do have to learn that, you know.
Absolutely, and I use the center markdown almost in every single post. And sometimes I notice like links will break it, and you have to use a second center and then do that on the below part to the post, so it then makes it respond again. So it can be touchy, but once you get the habit of it, it can really fill out a post really well with a lot of good formatting.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's lots of great little, tools you can use to spruce up posts. It's fantastic some of the things they've got going. There's the command I was talking about. And you can wrap that around pictures as well, and to center things up to make your posts more presentable.
Absolutely. So another thing I want to talk about is making friends on Hive. That goes a very long way when it comes to being an author, because if you go to other people's posts and leave them comments and upvotes, there's a chance they're going to come back and do that for you too. So after you write your post and you hit submit on there and it's on the blockchain, your best bet is to go out there, people with similar tags or in the similar community, go leave them an insightful comment and leave them an upvote and maybe even reblog them. And you might see that person do that in return. And if you do that enough times, well, you're going to get popular pretty quick.
I mean, there's this whole debate, isn't there? Really, let's be honest about whether it's who you know or what you're doing on Hive. Um, some people think it really is all about who you know. It's probably maybe a bit of balance. I don't know. Although I have to say, who you know does go a long way, doesn't it?
Well, I just mean like when you post in a community, go to the next three images and leave some comments with those images. I don't mean like make friends and like do backhanded deals. Like just literally use Hive for what it's designed to be, which is to post and to respond to other people's posts.
For sure, absolutely. In terms of the blogging dimension of Hive, definitely. I was just trying to open it up a bit, widen it out a bit, because there is a whole debate on Hive about whether or not it is who you know, or is it more about what content you're producing or what projects you're involved in, etc., etc.
Absolutely. There's people like Stimpy, or I don't think you'll get an upvote from them unless you've made a deal with them. I mean, that's not like guaranteed information, but I can tell you there's some people that will never upvote you unless you're a friend of them.
Oh yeah, see that's when things are a little bit too who you know. That's what I don't kind of like. That's almost like incestuous.
Yeah, it's definitely not how Hive was designed to be. Hive is designed to work like a meritocracy. It's something where based on how well you're doing and what you're doing and how well you're showing it off is usually how well you do on Hive. Now, Stake has a big multiplier on that. Don't get me wrong, but in the end, showing off interesting content or skills usually gets you pretty well noticed.
I remember going back to the Legacy chain when I first started on Steam in 2017. I remember I could put out any post, and I was almost guaranteed around $5 a post. Not because I'd built up any friends, not because I'd developed any certain working relationships. It was just that some people liked my work enough to give it in total an aggregate £5 reward. And that was pure people. Some of the people I didn't even know. They just liked the content. I must admit, I think some of that organic reward is not as pronounced, shall we say, as it is these days. It's gone a bit more in the direction of who you know. That's just my opinion, just my observation, but that's the way I think it's gone, Hive.
Well, networking in general definitely helps you, no matter how you do it. I think anyone that works in social media can say networking has a big impact on your ability to being a content creator.
For sure, yeah.
So that is basically, I guess I turned the sixth one into the fifth one. So I covered all the things that I wanted to talk about being an author. And hopefully those kind of things that I talked about were useful and other people notice. And if y'all have any tips on being an author, how to be successful, leave it in chat and I'd appreciate it. But thanks for letting me talk for a few minutes, Piece of Money. That's my little segment on Hive.
Awesome stuff. Good to hear from you, Solo. Thanks for that. There's so many ways people can interpret what you're supposed to do right on Hive. And when you're new here, it can be very, very daunting, overwhelming, even when you're trying to get things right. But you've got to forge your own path ultimately. And I think it's about balance more than anything. So yes, making friends, building relationships, absolutely will help you in terms of getting votes, but also content, engagement, and project, whatever you're doing, your work. All these things matter. I think there's a number of ingredients to be successful in Hive, isn't there?
Definitely. And just an organics, grassroots kind of approach where you just see other content creators and be like, hey, I'm doing what you're doing. I like what you're doing. And chances are they're going to come over and say they like what you're doing if they like it. So it's like helping out someone, they help you back.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a bit of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Let's be honest. It's just the way it is. Yeah, cool. All right, awesome. Where are we now? What was it? 6 minutes past 8 UTC. Probably going to wrap things up now. I know we started late, but unfortunately I can't stay too much longer. We had problems at the start. Apologies again for that. No one had told me I don't have server tag permissions anymore. I'll try getting something sorted for next week. Fortunately, the audio hasn't let us down this week, has it, Solo?
Yeah, the audio's been great. No delays in the audio. So I think that issue is resolved for the moment.
Yeah. Hats off to Discord. Well done. They've done their job, so that's great. Also, we can do our job. Right. I think that I am going to have to wrap up there. Unless there's anybody else, I better put it out. Anybody else wants to come in with anything at all? Speak now. In that case, I shall wrap up. Thank you to everybody who has come this evening. It's good to see you all. Bit quieter, probably because of the issues we had maybe at the start. Also the fact that the weather is getting warmer and brighter, and people maybe might not be so much in front of a screen, and why not? Okay, but thank you though for those that turned up. Thank you to Bookerman who gave us a bit of an insight into what he's been doing with his latest, what's been doing latest with his Wii project. Thank you to Addicted who turned up. Good to see you, sir. Thank you to Emmanuel Happy. What a great name. Oh, bye. Just as I said that. Never mind. Bye, Emmanuel. Great name, by the way. Mengao, I never pronounced that right, but thank you to you. Menno, good to see you, Squire, as always. Solo, thank you, as always, again, for turning up. Solobot, good to see you too. The Hive, my word, it would not be the same without you. So thank you for showing up. The Hive. And TX Racer, don't know much about you, but it's good to see you. You seem like a positive, friendly chap or woman. I don't know who you are, but you still haven't got an avatar sorted yet. You ever going to get that sorted, or maybe not? Who knows? But anyway, good to see you all. And that, yes, good. Well, maybe you will. That'd be good to see. But that wraps things up for another week. So until next week, guys and girls, take care.